Hi, Nicole.
Hi, Tracy. Good to see you.
Good to see you too behind the screen. I've been seeing you in person.
Yeah.
I've been coming to see you now for, gosh, a couple months maybe. And
Yeah.
um, I'm starting to really have some big shifts in my nervous system, which has been a lifelong question mark for me. So many questions are being answered. And it does make me curious what are other people's experiences going through your programs? What kinds of things do you see happening? It's kind of the nervous system is this mysterious, magical entity, and I can imagine the results are kind of similar and different with your clients.
Yeah, great question. Um, yeah, I feel like one of the biggest things, because the nervous system is basically all encompassing for you as a human being, everything that's biologically happening, mentally, emotionally, and some would even say spiritually happening is all from the nervous system. And, when that's healthy, then all those things and components are also working in an optimal, efficient, and coherent way, and you're healthy. And one of the biggest thing that I start out assessing and seeing make a huge shift is how much someone is or isn't in that sort of fight or flight state. And that fight or flight state could be a little bit every day, or it could be all encompassing, like this anxiety, chronic anxiety feeling, or you get triggered into a state of fight or flight and you can't come down. You see that a lot with post-traumatic stress disorder syndromes. And so just to really work on getting the nervous system of each person back to a state of parasympathetic, which is the out of fight or flight, it's the rest and heal state. And the more that the nervous system gets that, it's like a new language or a new neural pathway that gets ignited and reinforced over time, like with consistency and repetition. And what that allows is more breath, and breath, is such a great, tell all tale about how somebody's doing is how they're breathing. And so that is the first thing that I love to see shift in people, is that they're breathing better and they feel less in fight or flight and they're more in that calm state. Or even beyond that, I see a lot of people coming online in a different way. The blood comes to their frontal cortex and they're out of that defense posturing or defense state of like, am I safe? Am I not safe? Into what do I want to do with my life, and what's inspiring, and how can I be more creative, and how can I give more? And that's a different, totally different way of seeing the world. And I hear people say, I haven't felt joy in so long, and I felt so much joy. I feel so much joy. And they're making different choices when your higher brain is on, like I never wanted to exercise, but all of a sudden I'm like doing these classes and I'm loving it.
Hmm.
And so that's kind of the very nervous system biological, you know, way that I see a lot of people shifting, right? It could even be quick right off the bat that I see these shifts. It's wonderful. Let's see, another shift that I love seeing is that people start to come into being more connected to an authentic self. So, we grow up through our childhoods and adulthoods and all that, and we're like, how should I be? I should be this way, that way, based on getting through my family system and my school system and my work, institutions and all the things. And then coming here, I feel like one of the best parts of my practice is just really tuning into, well, what are you really feeling and who's really under there, and what do you want to reclaim about yourself that maybe you've edited or filtered out for other people or other reasons. And and basically overall, when the biological reward of having a coherent nervous system is all these things just more healthy. You feel more calm, joyful, creative, you feel connected. There's another biological reward. You feel more connected to the all, and maybe some spiritual sense as well, but more connected to self, more connected to your authentic place, feeling calmer and able to handle more. Your bandwidth has increased. So I see all these things happening. It can be subtle and it can feel like a natural state. And so people are like, I don't even remember coming in and feeling those things that we've listed out. It's very natural for them to feel better. And that's your natural state. So you give the nervous system what it wants and it finds its way home.
Mm. That's
Yeah.
beautiful. Thank you for
Yeah.
sharing.
Yeah.
What would you say? I mean, it took me so long to really understand that so many of the things I wasn't happy with in my life were stemming from a dysregulation of my nervous system. I'm still understanding as things get more into alignment with your help. But what are some of the signs? Because it's such subtle work, and I think I even see in my work with people when you've cleaned up your food and kind of dialed in your movement and you've got all the systems in place, then what remains is the nervous system. And it's like the final frontier of what to address. It doesn't need to be the final frontier. It should probably be where we start. But yeah, what are some things you see? Like, what are some signs that people could use some nervous system support and would benefit from your work? I think most of us would living in this fast-paced world, but yeah, if you could
Yeah,
spell.
that's a really good point too, is I think that the working with the nervous system is kind of a buzzword nervous system these days because so many people need it. And we are living in a much more complex and fast-paced reality, is that the nervous system can get amped up a lot more often than it used to, say before cell phones existed, or TV wasn't so high stimulating, or movies. And so, yeah, there's a lot more coming at our nervous system to handle. These are like different types of stressors of all kinds that the nervous system has to handle and then respond to. So there's a lack of that bandwidth. And so some of the signs you might see would be like that chronic anxiety feeling, or it coming up and you can't let it go. You're not breathing fully. There's not a breath that you could take that actually releases all the tension.
Mm,
You're like, oh, I can't seem to let go of this tension. Some people have digestive issues because of that. That's why our work
mm,
goes hand in hand a lot of times. You help the digestive tract, you help the nervous system, and then there's a nice health that can come from that.
mm,
Also, sleep issues. Um, I think social anxiety, things that are also like PTSD, social anxiety disorders, OCD, things like that, that can also it's like the nervous system getting caught up in itself and it can't seem to like release and relax, if that makes sense.
yeah.
I see people withdrawing from their lives and wanting less social interaction, or they don't feel like they have enough energy to perhaps do the things they love or even give back, give more to their communities. They're not thinking in sort of like a big picture in my life and excited and inspired. They're more just like down regulated, down regulated, down regulated to like, how do I get through this moment? I just want to go and watch Netflix on a couch, So those are some of the signs, Are you living in a state of more often than not calm and resilience and kind of a playfulness? Are you breathing well? Are you wanting to do the things that are good for you and making good choices? And even beyond that, are you connected to and living some level of purpose in your life?
Mm,
So those are the things that I like to look at.
that's beautiful. Yeah, I'm just amazed. I think we 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 don't understand. I think this is true of the nervous system and our digestive system, like how sensitive our bodies are.
Oh, yeah.
We have a lot to take in, but I've been playing around with like the lighting in the evening, which is connected to nervous system and like bright lights, like you're saying from the phone, and how jarring that is to our nervous system when we're trying to sleep. Um, and that totally ties into your work, and I find myself just being able to fall back asleep better since we've started working together, and less yeah, having more resilience around things like lights or phones and whatnot, although I try to kind of tone it down in the evening.
Yeah, I think with the nervous system, less is more. In some sense, it's so sensitive and so exquisitely so. And
Mm.
we don't know that it is, and we can kind of numb it out, you know, overdo it, overstimulate it.
Mm-hmm.
Less is so much more. I feel like let's get back to that kind of sensitivity and simplicity.
That's beautiful. And if people want to talk to you or learn more about your work, what's the best way to connect with you?
Yeah, the best way to connect is to go to my website and find a way to schedule a discovery call. I give a free introductory call where I just get to hear about you and ask you some questions and then let you know what the next steps are if it feels like it's a fit, if I could benefit you in some way. So that my website is www.nicoledc.com. That's NICOLEDC.com. And that's the best way to get to me.
That's great. I'll put that in the meeting notes too.
Yeah,
Thank you
wonderful.
so much, Nicole. It's always
Yeah.
so wonderful to talk to you. I learn something new every time we chat.
Oh, good. Yay. It's been great working with you.